Right, hello everybody. Anastasia, Bhargav, Brian, Cher, Gang, Greg, Jacob, James, Joseph, and Chip. Now let me share the screen so that we don't waste your time, guys. Hi there, and you can start by telling me where you are logging in from. So I'm opening this chat, and I can tell you hello from Houston. Okay. We really have a spread out audience. That's very nice. And that's what we can do. By the way, I'm doing an experiment locally in Houston. I run quite a few meetup groups. They just fall on me because I'm there, and whenever you get some account and the group leader doesn't want to lead it anymore, let me show you rather than just talk about this. So if I go to Meetup, right? And if I log in, then if I click on this icon, then I can show you my groups. Well, all these groups are mine. I did not start them except for one. One that's this one, which I started quite a while ago. There you are. And more than this. So we haven't been meeting for a while. And I wrote yesterday to everybody in every group. Like, guys, I'm thinking of going local again. That would be fun. The interesting thing that no, I didn't get any response. So if I don't get any suggestions as for the venue, I'll have to get in touch with the old venues and see if that works and so on. I'll tell you what happens with that. But let's go back to what we are talking about. That's this one. And for that, you need that link. There you are. Okay, so Fremont, Austin, also Houston. The question from Greg, don't you have to pay the monthly fee for every meetup you take over? Yes, that's true. I'm not sure about a meetup for each individual group, but all over, it's about $100 a month, I think. And that's why they don't want to continue, or maybe they don't want to continue just because, enthusiasm ran out. Okay, hello from Alejo and from Brazil, and again from Austin. So that's wonderful. Okay, let me give you that link. So if you want to see exactly what I see right here, you click on that link and you get there. Okay, so here we are. And for those people who are new here, what I do is every week I talk about whatever is the latest and greatest. And the first question that people usually have when they come here is, give us, I want to learn about AI. Give me where I start. Well, it's right here. What you do is click here, and I call it AI education. And essentially every course that we cover, every lab, everything that we do is all here. Most of them are courses either from Andrew Ng or from Coursera, sometimes YouTube, sometimes Deep Learning AI, which is again back to Andrew Ng. Well, and by now you can see we're about 80. So there is a lot to learn if you want to learn. I think that all of them are free or almost free. That depends. Like I have a subscription to Coursera and therefore I get all the other courses. So that's one. That's what you can get out of that group. And we cover every new one. I will cover a couple new things today. But back to what we're covering today is this. Last time you were very nice, guys, and you asked questions, and we recorded those questions, so I'm planning to answer about half of them. And then maybe we will do the other half the next time. But I did some kind of research and looked at that, and that's what we're covering today. Well, if that is the story, then the first questions that essentially everybody asked, so is AI good or is AI bad? Now, I will reveal right away that personally I have a vested interest and I think AI is good. And I'm trying to build something as AI applications, and that's what my interest is. So I think it is pretty good. And that's why I decided to look into the opinions that it's pretty bad. That is, I think, an honest and good approach. Well, I asked ChatGPT because that's a good discussion. It will give you a good overview, whether correct or no, that's we are to decide, and then further research and so on. So here you are. Let's see, it should give me what it gave me last time, right here. And we will look at that. But we will not just read what ChatGPT said. That will be only a guideline. So, and especially we will be interested in the flow, as a flow. By the way, if anyone wants to chat and say something out loud, well, chatting is already there, but if you want to talk, just do it. Just tell me that here that you want to speak, and I will click on this allow to talk. There you are. I'll click on that button if only you tell me, but usually I don't do it because robots get in. Okay, so the obvious things, we'll just mention them so that if we talk only about the bad, that don't look right. Okay, so of course, efficiency and productivity, the developers get 50% increase in their productivity. And I personally had that yesterday, had this moment, because I'm running a certain project. The project is about a new regulation being promulgated in California, and that's called race blind charging, where you want to take and anonymize most of the language that will imply that that particular guy is from a certain social group. So if you take it out, then perhaps charges that police files will be different. And to make it fair, we should remove that. Well, there are two approaches. The one that I like is with AI, and that's what I'm working on. So what I did was to write 5, 6 items of my plan of implementing it, and I sent it to my friend. The friend was asleep, so I thought I'll give it a try with ChatGPT. I gave it to ChatGPT. Well, it didn't just give opinion. I thought it would give me my opinion, its opinion. No, it just implemented that. And that was a complete solution. Again, I just said, that's what I want to do. He thought, okay, I'll do it for him. I'm going to work with my friend this afternoon to implement it, but he actually gave me the code. The implementation is just do it inside of the secure area of the cloud. That is what I think the major lesson is. The major lesson is, as we already know, Andrew Ng says, it's not that the AI will replace programmers, it's that the programmers using AI will replace those that do not. That's a well-known statement. But the only mistake that I find myself making is not using enough AI. That is the mistake that's possible. But like here, I almost made that mistake by asking a human, which can come later. You can ask first the ChatGPT. So I see there are comments, but let me go quickly through that list. Medical advancement, of course, we heard about the great diagnoses, safety, security. That's kind of to me blah blah. Educational empowerment. That is the well-known Conmigo Academy. Looks great, but I can never really enjoy doing that as a friend. Now, what as a foe? That will be very interesting. Okay, now at this time, I take a little breath and look at your comments here, chat. And I see Greg says that O3 was announced, and that is something we need. We have it on our plan. Probably not today, but next time. Okay, thank you. RLHF training bias toward code gen. That's a question, right? Is it biased toward code generation? Paul, I'm not sure what exactly your question means, but as a kind of an answer, I can say that I noticed it is amazingly good at code generation. Okay, but we'll talk about that later. So let's look job displacement. So certain roles, especially in manufacturing and service industries, are being replaced. And I would say not only that, it's those traditional white-collar jobs that were safe. That's what is a problem. I'll have more because I'm delivering an AI for executives in the middle of February. And to me, it's an extremely hard thing because on the one hand, those executives are afraid of AI, but you can't avoid saying that it's your friend, but you can't ignore their fear. So I'll tell you what happens there, but job displacement is definitely something that I personally don't have an answer at all because that's society. So is it good for people to be busy with something or is it not good? And some famous politicians and so on, they say guaranteed income. In other words, social security for everybody. Well, will it lead to people not being busy with anything? And then what happens? That is something that's social, and I have no answer. Now, Anastasia says, I would argue that amazingly good at code generation more often than not, it fails to generate proper code when I'm asking to. For me, it always works. So that is something that we can address. Maybe let's do it this way. So add here. So we will cover about half of that, but examples of code generation. Next time, maybe we'll do it. Right now, I don't want to just jump into that, but I write a lot of applications in code in language that I don't even know. So it works for me, and we'll talk about that. Back to this here. Bias and inequality or inequality. That means that if you are the owner of a ChatGPT, well, maybe you'll become even richer. But those people whom ChatGPT replaces, maybe they be even poor. That's interesting. Weapons of math distraction. Now, that doesn't sound like something very interesting, but that definitely is a clear. So the danger is maybe here, not that AI kills us. No, not directly, right? But kind of replaces those people who don't want to to move their brains. We'll be back to that. Privacy concerns, weaponization, that's all of this. I'm not going inside. Environmental costs and dependence and dehumanization. Okay, none of that was extremely bad. None of that was, oh, AI can lie and you teach it to like that, that would be bad enough. And we will talk about this. So I must notice that ChatGPT was very mild on itself, right? Not only that, it, well, here are the more interesting things. That's just a start. There is a new paper, how you can teach the AI to lie. That's right here. That's a second paper of the stub. So let's look at this one right now. Okay. And it's by a company that's called Apollo Research. So the first thing that I did was to go to find Apollo Research. So that is Apollo Research. What is it? It is dedicated to improving our understanding of AI to mitigate its risks. So it's definitely on the side that AI might be dangerous. And it seems to be a lab to emphasize that it is in a secure way. Also, I know that everybody joined. Everybody wants to say I'm politically correct and I'm secure. That is the team. Obviously, some bright faces here, and they do research, and that's one of the papers. Now that we see what it is, I would have to say they're not making science, but doing research. So here you are. The paper is about that you can make it devious. You can make it very smart so that it will deceive you, and that's a possibility. All right, that is great. The link is there if you want to read about this. You can. I'm not going deeper into this other than saying that's what it is. Claude is especially famous for publishing papers on why it can be dangerous. And we did last time. Last time there was alignment faking. So let's look at what we did last time. Here, it was alignment faking. That was from Anthropic itself. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And they talk about how if you train the model the way you usually train it, then it also learns how to lie. For example, you teach it to be politically correct, so it knows by now what you want from it, and it pretends that it does exactly that. But they still say that it's called alignment faking. So what is alignment? Alignment is a way to make it politically correct. When they put out ChatGPT 3, then it was wild and would teach you how to destroy humanity and all of that. So they put thousands of researchers. They wrote another paper how to include human correction into the model. And by now, all models are corrected by humans and taught to behave well. And that paper says that in teaching it to behave, you also teach it to lie, which is understandable humanly, because if you teach people what to say publicly, what's allowed, what's not allowed, you essentially teach them to keep your own mind to yourself. That was last time. This time we see another interesting paper called Test Time Training with the same idea. Well, no, sorry, I meant this one. Frontier models are capable of in-context scheming, right? And what is that? That's something that you guys asked. You said our latest papers in AI. But even though you asked that question and I have put it inside, I said, okay, I'm looking at that. That looks like some university folks, and they are looking like very smart people. At least the formulas look very smart. But however, I didn't go deeper there because that is more of a philosophical question. And my answer will be from what ChatGPT is doing, and Sam Altman explains. He said that in the beginning, and that's an important statement, in the beginning means a year ago. So in the beginning, most startups would find a deficiency in ChatGPT, in this case model, and would try to improve it. And that was their business strategy. 95% of the people, he said, were trying to improve on ChatGPT in a specific case. I also was trying to do it and didn't go too far. But now he says just the opposite. Everybody assumes that the model will become smarter and smarter and pretty fast. So your little improvements will not help billions of dollars startups who is improving. Now that paper is an idea of how you can improve that test time training with self-supervision for models. So to me, they, again, my private opinion, personal opinion, they don't have much chance on beating other very well-funded and brilliant startups. So here you are, that was training, but what I wanted to talk about today, and that's the main subject, is Agentic. So what is Agentic? Agentic is, according to Andrew Ng, is if it looks like Agentic and it talks like Agentic, it is Agentic, even though some people will say we're not there. That is the similar talk about the we are a general AI or we're not. And by now there is more and more opinions who say, well, yes, we are. So in other words, take that discussion out of your focus. Instead, look at what agentic does and what it implies. It implies that you build your system on top of some AI, and you build it composed of different things, different agents. For example, you have one agent who knows about travel, so that's your travel agent. And another agent, he knows about geography, and another about restaurants and about maps. So they together form your system, and that's what's called agentic. But for that, you need to really practically do it, and I'm going to show you a couple labs that do exactly that. Now I'm looking at the chat. I see. Okay, Paul, just to answer your question real quick, how was I able to program in a language I don't know? I should be more precise. I mean, I don't know well enough to write something like what it writes, but I know it enough to understand that's the text you need to copy. That I'm in Python. That's I was mostly Java, at least a year ago, and very little Python, very little. So you need to know basic things like copy paste the code, and you know that step to the right means you open a bracket. That's Python's special thing. That kind of knowledge, that's all I have. But now I'm not afraid to do any kind of application. I just ask that exactly the problem that I was telling you about, how to implement raise blunt charging, and it implemented it all in Python. So thank you. I wouldn't do it as fast and as nice and it's as precise. I hope that is good enough for now. Okay, so I wanted to show you those two labs. The labs go in this order, and I am actually going to do it. So for that, I need to go to mount my driver. Go to one of my courses, which is already polished. It usually comes from the open source code of either Amazon or Amazon published on Andrew Ng site. So I don't write it. I just make sure that it works. And that usually takes a week or two. I used it in my recent course. So, new life. You take one of the 80 courses, you implement it, you put it on your computer, you make sure it works, and then you just teach it or use it. Use it to start your application building. AI application building is the thing. Okay, so I have quite a few courses in that, quite a few sections, and the one that I want to do first, it said serverless on Bedrock. So go and show me serverless on Bedrock. Here you are. And open instructions. So the instructions are the same for every lab. Here they are. That's how you run it the first time. And if you follow these instructions, then you set up your Python environment for that particular lab. Every lab is different. Everyone has different requirements. So you set up your virtual environment, then you activate it, and then you install a few additional components. Most of the install comes from pip install requirements. So every lab has its own requirements, which is a local file to that particular lab, and then you run. Now, in my case, I already did it, and you don't have to suffer for that install. Instead, how do you run in general? Well, in general, you do the source like that, and then after you source it and you are in my environment right here, you simply start Jupyter. There you are. Now, for that to work, there should be a key file. So all of my keys are found right here, ls.env. That's a .environment file, which is the standard for giving it the keys, but keeping them private. So every one of these labs will use the same set of keys, and that I shouldn't show you, but instead I should show how you start the lab. That's the Jupyter lab. From then on, you see the prepared themes, and these themes in that case are lesson 1, lesson 2, and lesson 3. So we will not go through all of them. We'll just open the very first one. You see that, yes, there is the first notebook that you play with, but there are also additional, quite a few things for that to work. That's where you make sure that it's all polished and prepared for the class. In this case, it's all out of a class that I just recently run. The class was about how to build AI applications. But that's very important phrase. Building AI applications is because we're not building AI, we're not training models. That's all in the past. Instead, you learn about what the current models can do. And my labs, they include Amazon, Azure, Google, and whatever else. All right, so that first lab usually shows that, yes, I can talk to my lab AI. So what you do in this case, it's on Amazon, and Amazon calls their stuff Bedrock, which is not nice from every point of view, because every cloud calls their stuff, their AI stuff, different names. It's just hard to remember. I understand, of course, there are high-paid executives who do the marketing and branding. Bedrock is not telling me much, but gradually maybe I will learn. In any case, you connect to Amazon. That's the libraries that connect you to Amazon. And you choose what you're going to enable. That will be your client to talk to Bedrock, which is Amazon AI. And one little thing is that if you want that to work, you need to log in into Amazon. Maybe I can show you real quick how you log into Amazon. So here I am in one of those environments. Okay, Amazon. Okay, I'm like it worked. So I showed it to you last time, but it's important that you search for Bedrock. So I have Bedrock here. If I didn't, I would just start typing. I would say Bedrock. And when you are in Bedrock, then you look at your models, which I found right here on the left. Model access. Well, by default, you don't have access to any of the models. The fact that I have access granted is because I clicked. I clicked on available upon request, and I made this request. If you don't, it doesn't work. You get back you are unauthorized, and unfortunately, it doesn't work. That was one of the secrets that I had to do to prepare for the class. And now I'm doing something that I hate when others do it. They show how it works. They show it works very well. Well, that's because they spend a couple weeks preparing for the show. Well, that's what I've done here too. That's why it works. I can say, okay, talk to you, Genie, ChatGPT, write a one-sentence summary of Las Vegas. And of course, you can do it on regular ChatGPT. Nothing new here. The only thing is that I'm doing it as a script and not by going into chatgpt.com or chat.com as it is today. In this case, it works. The reason it works is because it also has the keys, which I showed you where they are. So it came back and says these are the results. Well, that is how you just verify that you make sense. What else is there that leads us to agentic? Well, let's look. Let's look here. The next step is make it summarize a file for you. So it's no big deal. Of course, you can summarize the file. Not only that, in this case, I can do it with a dialog. I'll show you just the beginning. Okay, so now much more will be needed for that to work. All these libraries, and here I'm getting the keys by using this secret.env. But now I can show you the dialog MP3. Well, let me do this. Let me stop share for a second. Share that again. But this time share it with the sound. So now I can click here and it will talk and you will hear.
Hi, is this the Crystal Heights Hotel in Singapore?
And on and on. Then, of course, you can transcribe it. You can make it into text. In this case, by the way, we do the transcription in the next lab. In this lab, we already give a transcription has already happened. So we give the text right here and so on. Okay, again, nothing groundbreaking, no earth-shattering kaboom. Then we enable login just because we're going to do it in the proper way. And the proper way is Lambda or serverless way of working. And that's what these labs are about. So that's just an introduction. Turns out that to make things work as a lesson 2, you need to find the lesson 1, which I did lesson 1. And in lesson 1, you need to verify that you have all the connections in a simple way. And then you do it with Lambda functions. And that is only a preface, an introduction. So what do I do next? Now that I know how to connect to AI, whatever it is, in this case it is Amazon AI, then I want to show you the real agentic. But you would agree with me that unless I have those agents and if I verify that they do work, unless I do all of that, the and there's no hope. Now I need to switch to the second one. Well, I will switch to the second one in a second, but let's look at what people are saying. Okay, that is something that Paul, by the way, is brilliant, and whatever he says, I would read and listen. But right now, we cannot analyze what he is saying. Instead, what I need to do is go back and stop this lamp like that. Then I want to go and deactivate. And now I'm not in my environment, I'm regular. Then I go to the agentic. So the agentic happens to be here, agentic on Bedrock. And here I need to, again, enable my environment. Well, the environment is right here, if you remember. It's the same environment for all of them. And it says just activate that environment, which by now is a different one because I'm in the next llama right here. By the way, is it here? No. No. Oh, my environment is here. Okay, if my environment is here, I can activate that, and then I can do Jupyter Lab. By looking at that, you appreciate how much preparation goes into all of that. And that is real agentic. Okay, so if that is real agentic, then let's look at how you build, use, and reuse that. Number one, lesson one, we are going to look at the first agent. Well, the first agent, we will use the same libraries. We'll connect to that, and we will tell it what it needs to do. You are an advanced AI agent. You are a frontline customer support. So before I go through the labs, I will show you the whole plan. For the plan, I need to go and look at other labs. So the first agent will be customer support. That will be the model that it will be using. And by now, we're getting quite ready for enterprise. So we fix the model. We don't just say, oh, any model will work. We give it an exact model, time, and date. And we're telling you, you are a max support customer support agent. So you will be replacing broken cups. That's mundane, but you will be doing it. We give you a role as to what you're allowed to do. Later on, we will allow you to connect to the customer questions and answers and databases. That is the plan. So let's go and look at some more elements. So that's lesson 2. And in that lesson, you have another agent. And you're connecting to CRM, Customer Relation Management, and you're exercising with the real questions and answers that you as an agent right now just using the database of existing questions and answers. What's the difference between Stone Age and that? The difference is that the customer may be talking in a very different language and it will not fit your questions and answers. But you are an agent, you are an AI agent, you will be able to understand the customer. You will then find something that essentially means the same, but is not expressed in the same terms. And you have built a new agent, the one that can talk to the customer and help him with the most basic questions. The next one is here, performing calculations. That's giving another agent, for example, refunds. So the agent says, okay, you want refund, very nice. Let me whip up my calculator, which by now AI can do. Gone are the days when it was fun to say that it cannot count, because it can count now, and much better than maybe we can by using a calculator. And so you see another agent that you build in and so on. So in the end, I still need to show you the whole plan. That is guardrails, meaning the customer shouldn't make it destroy the backend. So how do you put the guardrails? It turns out that the guardrails are there for you. You don't have to re-implement no sex, no hate, no violence, no insults here, and no prompt attacks in general, but it's already done. Already done, so all you need to do is connect. It's kind of web application firewall, right? And finally, we'll see how it will connect to FAQ manual, how it will know what's right, what's wrong, how it will maintain the conversation, and how it will escalate to the next level if it didn't work on its level of competence. Now that is the plan. How much time do we have? Not much. So what I want to do is this. Let's risk it. Let's try the last one, the most ambitious. Okay, so let us start right here. Okay, so as you can see, a lot of things happens when you run the very first cell, and all the previous lessons are recalled now, and everything is cleaned up. It's an amazing amount of preparation, but in the end, you have to have a real intelligence. So there you are. It all is prepared. You run certain scripts, and everything is cleaned up. That's what we've done. Now I noticed that, by the way, it doesn't work perfectly every time. So if you want to be even more production ready, you might have to run that same preparation yet again. At least in my class, I had to run it maybe couple times. People accepted that fine. And they understood that that kind of code doesn't always work perfectly well. Besides, you're in the cloud. Who knows what kind of initializations are there? But finally, it's done. So after that, the agent is prepared for you, and you might start. So again, you connect to Amazon AI. You describe that it is that AI agent that you want to connect. Okay, and then you look at the knowledge base. That is what we wanted to see. The knowledge base is in a special format. It's not that obvious how to prepare it when looked at it. And I saw that you need to use theirs at this time. So, okay, we connect, we use their database, and you connect to that database. I'm sorry if it goes too fast, but well, it's a lot of knowledge. The end result is that you prepare your agents that can get the question of the customer, find something similar in the tag questions and answers, and then react appropriately to the customer demand. Now you see what goes into that kind of thing. You see why it is, to me, quite amazing what you can do by, well, standing on the shoulders of the foundational models. And then you just give it a question like, I bought a mug 10 weeks ago, it's broke. So it will consult its database, find out what's the usual answer, and maybe send it further. Okay. What can I do? So here, of course, the answer could be that just use the glue or return it or anything else. But if the agent shouldn't invent it, it should be based on its own previous thoughts. So, okay, it tells you all that it's doing. It tells you that it's thinking through minor crack. It needs more knowledge for a minor crack. In fact, it says use epoxy. That's one way. However, If it's more than that and it's dangerous enough, send it back. Well, that was a good human answer, but created by AI. All right, I think I showed really what I wanted to show, and that was how are those agentic systems organized? That is how. So we go back right here, and yeah, we covered the basic. So how good AI is, and who says that it's better, and what do they think? But then we wanted to go deeper into agentic, and I covered quite a lot of agentic for you. Too fast, too high level, but still, I showed you that it can work and probably can be used by you guys. So shameless plug, you could either get our course, but for that you have to be an enterprise because it's not for individuals. Or just go to that same you know, outline of all the courses where we store them. When we prepare for a delivery of a course, we go to our same repositories, polish, prepare, and deliver. And we have to know what we're talking about. Actually, the secret is out. I use ChatGPT to create the basic slides based on the lab. So first lab, it should work. Then ChatGPT, it can understand the notebooks, but not always. That's very interesting. I would say at least 50% it fails. But it can do the first version of the slides, then you can do a better one. That's all the secrets out. Okay, so there's more that we have to cover also. Here, I will use that conversation that you were conducting, and I'll put it as a plan for what we'll be talking about next. That's because nothing new happened in AI in the last week of the year. Somehow, maybe people were holding on to the news. So I'll copy that. And now I'll go on mute and I'll be silent for a minute and I will let you ask your questions. So I'm typing questions and making myself silent so too much talk is not good. Okay. All right. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, you don't ask questions right now, but we more or less have a plan for the next time. Those things like 3O, is it much better than O? That's those who know. And we will cover that. Then we will look at Sora, at new models, at whatever happens in the next week, because I'm sure there will be a flood of announcements. So we'll cover that, plus all the new things, plus all that Greg and Paul were talking about. Paul and Greg are both from California. They can figure it out. All right, so guys, thank you very much. I really enjoy. Okay, one message. There is one message. Is there a repo for the notebooks? No, Paul, there is a repo. Let me give it to you. So first of all, let me give you the background, and the background is right here. So that link you have, the only link that you need is this. So one step at a time. That is the webinar link. The webinar content link, I should say. There. Okay. That is the first link you go to. Next link is a learning path. Right here, there's a learning path. So I'm clicking on that and opening. Now here, first of all, there is a number which we assign just so that they should have different numbers. Then there is a name, kind of an abbreviation, what it is about, and you see quite a lot of them. Then basic subject, what it is about. So all of these things are just convenience. Then the link to the course itself. So that course, like if I open this prompt engineering. So let me open this prompt engineering just to prove the point that yes, it is the right link. There you are, and Andrew and Isa will talk to you and teach you. Next step. Next step is you scroll to the right. Here you see our repository. That's where we copied all the code, all the necessary support files, which are shown in the class over there, but you need to really dig a little to get them. So if you open that, right, and that is also, I believe, an open repository, isn't it not? Settings, public, okay, public. So you can clone the whole thing, and by now that whole thing is pretty big. You can see that it is from 1 to 60. And on the average, we've been adding 2 more every week. Now, one thing that it will miss are the keys. Even though it says new keys, it doesn't really mean that they are public. Maybe I added them. So where are the keys? Well, it's like, it's not appropriate to give you my wallet. Maybe as a good Buddhist, maybe I would want it, but practically it doesn't work. We're not there yet. So, that is all explained. The way it is explained for each lab, there is an instruction. For example, let's say I'm looking for some nice instructions, like maybe here, okay? Prompt engineering. So, where is the setup? There should be how to run. Well, maybe not all of this, but many of them you will see how to run the instruction, the markdown instruction, and that it tells you where to go, how to get the keys, and so on. Of course, you can always write to me. I'll help you with that. So when you asked about this part of the course, well, the course that I'm preparing when I'm delivering and teaching that is not public. So that would be something like this. Built-in. That's, for example, a packaged course, and that would have all of the what I was showing you. I was showing you something out of this closed and not public one, but it's the same structure. So there is an open repository, which is just a big warehouse of stuff, and there are public cleaned and baked and prepared for delivery. That's where practically I would do it when I start. And I hope, Paul, that is exactly what you were asking. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so we have a plan. We have a plan for the next time. And the plan will almost certainly change because there will be new stuff. So thank you very much. Thank you for your reaction. Thank you for your questions. And I see you next time. Everybody have a great year. Everybody have a great weekend, a great week, and a great year. Thank you, and thank you for your thank you. That's a lot of thank you from me to you and from you to me. So thank you very, very much.